So, welcome to MoDevMiami. Thank you very much for showing up. I appreciate that you've given me time and mind share and the ability to be able to get together at the same time and space and share ideas with and share the spirit cooperation. So that being said, we were graciously, let's say you can get something a little bit of space right in the middle of the projector. It's all right. It happens. Sorry about that. So, most graciously hosted by MoDevMiami. Love art business. So, if you guys know what MoDevMiami is, it's kind of a made together, maybe not so much. So, excuse me, MoDevMiami is a co-working space. And I already spoke a little bit to the gentleman here for a while. But co-working is a new phenomenon that's taking the U.S. by storm. And freelancers and entrepreneurs are seeing that they actually make much more money, right? Because that's what goes down with the internet, right? You make friends, and you make connections between individuals, but at the end of the day, you need something to take a root for you. And so we have a bunch of smart individuals here in Miami and across the nation. What happens is that they're all in separate tribes and they're not talking, right? People are waking up and they're realizing that social media and Twitter and Facebook, that talking is the way to go, right? It's kind of like coming back in the 60s and 70s. Remember, we're having a little bit of freedom in the workplace. A little bit of free working, right? So, with that being said, I think nice to have that. What is MoDev? Okay? So, MoDev is basically a mobile developer, right? We got started in Virginia, actually in DC, and I met the founder, Peter Erickson, a great guy, and they've been running meetups for mobile developers, designers, and entrepreneurs for almost a year, 2 years, or I'm not sure exactly. Remember, they draw an immense amount, right? This is usually like 1/10 of what we usually have out there in DC. And it's had such extreme success that when I usually travel between Miami and DC for work purposes. And I'll get back to that on the co-working. But it's such a nice thing to be able to go every other Tuesday to a place of top technology and socializing and seeing everybody's up, right? Like I said, why is it Miami? We have so much talent in Miami that's all over the place, and nobody's talking to me. Right? So I said, please, let me be MoDev. He was like, sure. And I was like, yeah, good. So with that being said, it's not just for mobile developers. We want to be query. It's just like you see the stuff coming here. Right? We need you. We need minds. It encompasses various disciplines. Entrepreneurship. Right? We have entrepreneurs in the house. Everybody here is entrepreneurs. Design. Right? We need people to give a pretty face to our application. Because let me tell you, the applications already get one for out, they will look like utter trash. Right? And right? The backbone. So we need people to fund the work. Okay? To help create the products. We need people to give the products a beautiful face, and we need people to actually make the products. We put those three things together and say, time and space and beautiful things will happen. Right? So, with that being said, what enables all this? Code. Right? Now, I picked this book up about halfway through it about 2 months ago, right? This book was written in the 1980s. Okay? It's called The Third Way. Now, I kind of gave the premise of the book a little earlier. We had a conversation. Most of us people talk. But what we doing in the future there. And the first wave was the agricultural revolution. Right? So before this, land was free and wild, we did not have to pay taxes, we used to hunt, where we lived. And then we realize that if you put seed into the ground, and welcome. If you put a seed into the ground, it will grow. If you put many seeds of the right kind into the ground, you have a farm. You pick up the fruits, you eat. All of a sudden, we didn't have to spend all day hunting after animals, you see, to make a living. Right? So that was the first way. When we actually realized that we could settle in one part of the world, or we do a lot of land. So that way took over the globe, right? And pretty soon everybody was farming. And when you had farms, you had farms. When you had towns, you had countries. When you had countries, you had rulers. So that's another talk for another time. So the second wave was actually the second wave was the industrial wave. Now the industrial wave was right after we got tired of farming, we discovered electricity. And we started building these things, we went through Victoria, all these higher institutions, right? A series of refinements and culture and civilization. We got to discover a little bit more about physics, right? We got to understand electricity, we got to understand gravity. We knew that if an apple fell on our heads, it would really, really hurt, but that there was this force operating across the entire universe, basically. Never mind the space time, but we discovered rules, and we started harnessing them to create things, beautiful things, better things. And as time progressed, right, we got to the institution of the factory. And so we have the factory. We have a factory that operates like a machine. Everybody needs to be there at the same time, so we institute 9 to 5, so that the machine can operate, right? Because machines need human operators. So the machines have to have a certain number of hours per day to work. Humans have to be a certain number of hours there per day to work machines. See? And inevitably, political institutions flow from that. We know Marxism, the owner of machines. The owner of the means of production is the owner of all the work. Right? That's what Marx said more or less. And all that is falling apart. Okay? All that's falling apart. First of all, the second wave hasn't taken over the entire world. You still have places like India and Japan that are still industrialized. Right? They're on their way to the third wave. Unfortunately, all the jobs have left the United States because we're starting to encounter the third wave. Right? More on that later. So, as these countries take on the second wave, more people lose the second. And it's shifting from our shores and going on to others. So what are we going to do? Okay? The first thing is no work. The second thing is we better start memorizing a lot. And the reason why is because we're in the third wave, right? The third wave is the return of the home college, the home industry. Except instead of producing real goods, we're producing virtual goods. See, we're producing things of the mind. We're becoming workers that operate on symbols instead of actual physical products. You see where I'm going with this? So as we design the component, go on, you're going to see a proliferation of this third wave. So co-working is a manifestation of the third wave, right? It's the product of this thing that's happening. Much like a factory is a product of industrialism. See? Centralized nature of it. 9 to 5. That kind of thing. Co-working is an ongoing phenomenon that's going to take more roots in society as time goes on. Inevitably, I say, the jobs are, the factory jobs are, you think it will be, or they're going to come back in different form. And the reason I say that is because actually what interesting thing we've been seeing is that Chinese investors are actually putting back money on land, their factory funds. And they're actually putting our people to work because our currency is not working anymore. Because their currency is working more than how to work. The owners of the means of production control. co-working is a harbinger of a new growth, right? The future is not as bleak as it seems. The future is a beautiful future. The future is a future that you create, okay? In everything that you do, each and every one of you guys are helping to create a future. And if we all agree on the future that we want, we can make a beautiful future for ourselves, for our children. And that's what it's all about, right? Making a beautiful garden, a beautiful Eden that we all live in. Because that's what we want. We want to live free. We want to live free of worries. We have machines that work for us and fix stuff so we can sing, dance, yeah, I can do it. So, actually, to give you something, I know this is in a long text. There was this study done that's called the co-workers program. And this study was done actually in January 2011, so it's about a year old. And at that time, half of our respondents, right, basically co-working the past 11 months. So this is 2010, right, about February 2010. In January 2011, half of the people in that environment said they started co-working this year. So this is a relatively new thing. Slightly more than half of our co-workers are freelancers. And I'm pretty sure that most of you guys in here are either entrepreneurs or freelancers. I'm kind of in the middle, I do freelancing, and I lay job and similarly, myself, 1 in 5 work as a permanent employee. And the reason that that's happening is because companies in the United States are actually starting to experiment with telepresence, with cameras, with remote work, right? Because in the refrigerator, we manipulate our symbols, we manipulate numbers. To a certain extent, we can do words, writes, that kind of stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that does real work, operates on machines, but it can be done anywhere in the world. It can be on the beach, it can be programmed in the next and 4 in 5 co-workers start their career with university education. Why? Because we're smart people, right? Smart people are the future. Smart people are realizing that, hey, I can type up a document. The overwhelming majority of co-workers now work in the field of creative industries. Most designers, programmers, things that require that there is a law, I don't even know I said it right, but things that are ephemeral. Why? Because those are the things that make money. People want free things like, our favorite and at the end of this wall of text, I think before I get to the presentation, actually, many individuals report making new acquaintances that have a positive effect on their own. In the last 2 months, and this is about a year ago more or less, 40% of the survey respondents reported meeting 1 to 3 healthy acquaintances, while another 43% have found 4 or more subjects. Talking lets you make friends. You make friends, you toss ideas around, beautiful things. You're starting to get the gist of it, it's about making friends. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about the Cappuccino Web Framework. I know that's what you guys perhaps are clear about. So, the Cappuccino project was actually started by 2 gentlemen that used to work for Apple. And I think they realized they had such an amazing product on their hands that they realized they could basically go out and they can kill it in the market using this framework. Surprisingly, I think now things are a little different for them, even though they did it with great success. It turns out that the company was bought by Motorola. Now, of all people, why would Motorola buy a software package that has an API that can have the almost 100% of the code, right? We don't know. And I think if Steve Jobs would have heard, may he rest in peace, if Steve Jobs would have seen this before he unfortunately was taken from us, he would have sat somebody at the side of the head and would have bought the company for twice. Right? So let's catch you. And it's going to describe this protocol for your web. Okay? So if you don't know what Coco is a suite of development utilities. for the Mac. It is basically the... You know, I don't know. Yeah, I think it was the mobile edition of Motorola. And it's very interesting that you would say that, because I did hear about the people acquiring Motorola. And honestly, I don't know Motorola really nice. Some people are speculating on the this. The good thing is it's open source, so they can't really ever put it in private. And if anything is ever wrong, you can adjust the source code and get it around. Or case stuff in the So you're never going to be that about it cool. But, you know, speculation about it, and we just wanted to snap it up so that we can have it. The intellectual property rights. I think they were very smart, and yet at the same time, they didn't probably know what they were. Well, it's Google, and there's some dying. I don't know what Google's doing. I hope they, you know, I hope they make it. I haven't seen what they make, but the truth is that they're competing with that. So they kind of need to get close. Cappuccino is really easy to do. If you have a Mac, I'm going to show you how you can do it. I'll probably store my Cappuccino solution in the process of time and talk about the goodness of science. You download the script from GitHub. I guess I would use GitHub before for the technical users here. Yep. Awesome. So GitHub is basically your source code in the cloud. It gives you, if you're not using it, you don't know, if your developers are using it, insist that they use it, there's something you can put. If your developers lose their hard drive, you do not lose your project. The reason why is because GitHub is a cloud-hosted backup service for source code. It was actually created as a project in the Linux kernel, which I'm very fond of. And it helps you keep some versions of your documents. You can go back to any version you want. You can have different trees of source code. So you can test one feature out before you integrate it into your conversions or your project. And awesome stuff like that, that if you're doing development these days and you don't have something like that, you're crazy. So it's really easy to get up and running. I'll show you. It provides a type feedback loop for developers. Now, what do I mean by a type feedback? Because, so I don't know if any of you have tried to create a web application using HTML here before. It's a pain in the ass. Okay? You throw jQuery into the mix, it becomes a little easier. You have your semantic HTML. You have your boxes, you give them IDs, and you make them bigger and smaller. They still look like crap, right? The Cappuccino guys have taken that all out of the equation. And I am so happy that they have done this. The reason being is because they take out all the work from creating that. Same thing that Apple did for creating. You draw a window and you copy it. You look at a button, and I know you really appreciate this, and the button does stuff. How better could it be? How easier could it be? I'm actually going to show you what it's doing. So it provides a type feedback loop for developers. So they can draw windows, connect stuff, get your business logic in there, and then we bring in the designers, we bring in the creative people. We skin the window to look however we need. It's very aesthetically pleasing, and it's surprisingly similar to Apple's user interface. But you guys are as Apple interface. The API, right? Why are you going to reinvent the wheel? The API is 90% similar to code. So, for example, when you have a class, instead of being an NS prefix class for foundation, like for example, notifications, instead of being NS notification, it's actually a CP. And this is actually, hi, welcome. Hi, pleasure. We have beer, we have pizza, man, make yourself at home. Right? Nice. So notifications are just an option. You send them on to let copies know what's going on. So with that being said, let's see Cappuccino. I'm going to take my bar cider and I'm going to sit back here so you're all just looking at the screen and I'm going to talk to you. Right? I wish I had a long range HDMI cable. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get my development environment started. And then we get the seats. Whoop.
Gotta open it upside down. Yeah.
Technology strikes again. So, and I'm going to pull up Safari. As you can see, I have a bunch of developer stuff on the screen. All right, so you download Cappuccino from Cappuccino.org, and if you click on the download section, you'll go to the starter package. And the starter package, if I'm not mistaken, is just, let's see. Alright, so it's a zip file. And I've actually never really done this before. I always download it from GitHub. So, there you go. I'm going to pull up the Cappuccino resource in GitHub just for kicks. So the first thing that comes up is actually the GitHub page for Cappuccino. And if you go there, you see a bunch of stuff that really doesn't make sense. But what you just have to look at is there. That URL will get you the package, and you can later on download via the command. Now, I'm actually torn between wanting to show you the zip, and let me just go there and see what's inside that package. So that's what we're looking at. Unfortunately, for this part of the exercise, you won't actually need to open the terminal so that you can actually run the search from the terminal. So I'm now going to go to my downloads directory, and I'm going to bootstrap my Cappuccino installation. So let's see if I can actually do that. So you're presented with this package, and the first thing you have to do is just run the bootstrap. And the bootstrap is actually going to go ahead and modify your environment for you. And I forget if I have to do a sudo install, but just hit yes for the questions. Just hit enter when it asks you a question. It'll take care of all the details for you. It looks much more complicated than it actually is. Cappuccino is written in JavaScript, and a lot of the libraries that it uses that are written natively in JavaScript are actually compiled down to minified, so to speak. Let's see. Just answer yes to the prompts. Send your life away. This is the scariest part of the whole installation. And I must admit, sometimes I've had issues with it, but usually if you go to the IRC channel, you guys know what IRC is. If you go to the chat channel for the Cappuccino group, then they will actually help you to get through any issues that you may have. So the bootstrapping is complete, and if you, I'm going to go to my desktop now. You should be presented with a tool called Cap. So what we did was basically install this set of utilities, and your window with the Cappuccino is called Cap. Now, when you start Cap, and I'm in my desktop now, let's see here, we're going to start template-t, and it's going to be let's see, what is it? So one of them is a nib application. And it is crucial that you use a nib application because that is actually what's going to let you graphically build an application. Okay? So we're going to do cap gen -t with application. And after that, you just put your application's name, demo app. It should be everything. So fingers crossed. Yes. Okay. So what it did is it created a new skeleton application. It linked all the libraries that you downloaded from the starter package, and that you installed using the Bootstrap server. Okay? So your card is completely ready to run, and let me show you how easy it is to get your demo application running. If you guys know the script, it's great. We type open space period. It opens the existing the current directory for you. So you go ahead and you take the debug, and the debug page, because after all, this is a web page. The index-debug is the page that has all the debug console open for you. So if any of you have ever done web application development in Safari, you know that there's a console, JavaScript console, and within there you can use cplog, much like nslog, to output all of your debug statements. So let's see. Do I have my? I'm going to drag this into my Safari. Let's see. And let's see, it's going to load demo. Now, I've actually had it sometimes not work. This is great. I love it when stuff breaks because I can show you how to fix it. What's happened is that I haven't opened my project in the tool that's installed. It's called Xcode Cat. Now, part of the development suite allows you, because you created a native application, to graphically build your windows. Part of the Cappuccino installation brings an Xcode Cat that what it does is its sole purpose in life is to read all of the Cappuccino source files and translates them into a way that you can actually edit them with Xcode. Okay? So if that happens, go ahead and start Xcode Cat. And you can't see it, but it's actually running on my screen here. And it goes to the, you guys will all look back here, it goes to the top of your bar, right? And you put, well, I'm listening to a project. Listen to project, and then you navigate to your desktop, and then you select demo app. I'm just going to choose Cappuccino project, demo app, open. It's going to do some cool stuff up in here. It's going to load my project. I'm going to open my project in Xcode and drag it over. Demo app, it looks much surprisingly like an iOS project. They have frameworks and products and all that other good stuff. And if I go back to Safari, there you go. Surprise, guys, you have a Cappuccino application. You have awesome stuff. You have menus. You have sub-menus, which at the moment there's nothing in there. You can do all cool stuff like find, spelling, substitution, speech, format. Of course, most of these things you have to build the functionality for inside of Xcode, right? But look at all the stuff you have for free. Now, as part of the package, which is a demo, you can see there's a text field and there's a slider. Now check this out, right? I'm just going to drag the slider. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? You type a few lines into the terminal, and you have a functional web application. Isn't that amazing? So I'm going to go ahead and open Xcode for you guys. I'm going to show you this is all. So who's like a Cappuccino, an iOS developer in here? Does anybody ever program for the iPhone? How about Coco? Any Coco developer in the house? Yeah, I would thought that you would program at least that would be program. So whenever I'm going to go ahead and show you the real meat and potatoes, the main menu mid. Okay? Now I'm going to get rid of my inspector here somehow. So I'm kind of constrained by the screen. But let me see if I can double click on this. So this is proving to be a little challenging. Let me see if I can adjust my screen resolution. All right, let's see if that works. All right. So this is the main menu. This is your window. This is your app control. Okay? So this window, okay, it just happens to be that this is an easy way for you to start creating a project. The Cappuccino Web Framework just automatically creates a window. Creates a main menu for you, which you may choose or may choose not to use. And it just puts two controls on the side and says, have app. The app controller is basically, for those of you who have never programmed with any code related, it's an object that gets all the messages from your application. Okay? It gets all the button presses, it gets all the navigation stuff. You have a table view, you have lots of stuff. I'll get to show you. The table view is a little intensive, but yeah, it's probably not enough. I have to have a specific class just for that. But I'll show you how to hook up a button and how easy it is to even pop up on your window. Would you guys like to learn that maybe? Just see how easy it is? So I'm going to start by, mind you, I haven't touched the line code yet. I'm going to go ahead and take the main menu. Boop, done for. Save my project. The zip is going to be converted. Restart, and then you're done. Hallelujah. Web development come its age. I'm going to go ahead and, for example, go in here, and you see that's my little window there. And open my organizer, and let's see. There you go. So we're going to go to our object library, and the objects are basically the fancy way of Apple saying this is what you can draw on the screen. So you're going to go ahead and put a label in there, and I'm going to have to get into the habit of closing my organizer. I got please look at the little thing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and type hello world. The line of code has been touched. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get rid of these guys. You get beautiful human interface guidelines. For those of you who have never programmed for an Apple platform, Apple puts all of this display guidelines into logic into your project. So when you're actually drawing the stuff, it tells you, hey, you shouldn't put that text too close to the border. So it gives you this little blue line. Hey, you shouldn't put that text too close to the bottom. So keep everything within the nice little lines, and we will allow your app to go faster. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And you guys can't see the magic happening because it says, if there's a little thing running in my taskbar, and every time I press the save button, it goes ahead and converts the stuff. I'm going to go back into Safari, and I'm just going to press refresh, and hello. Okay, oh my God, it's off center. What happened? Okay? Apple has this cool thing where you go in there, and you open your organizer, and you can actually set the position of the elements. It's called the resize mask. And if I ever find it, I'll let you see it. So what happens when your window resizes, right? It currently is stuck to the top of the window. See the little arrows right there? So I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the side of the screen, and to the bottom, the center, and to the, let's see, do I have to do that? I don't have to do it. There you go. That should be, okay, that's good, that's good. So it'll stay in the same place vertically, but it'll adjust automatically horizontally. Okay? So this beautiful layout engine is yours for free. Use it, web developers. Save your project, refresh. It's in the center, but what happened now is probably that my text just does not have the right. There you go. Fine. So what's happening is that this text control is being attached to the side of the screen, and your text is being instructed to display the center. What we've done in web development terms is draw a div and set the text on. See where I'm going with this? Isn't it beautiful? I've touched no code. Oh God, how I hate HTML. You guys have no clue how much I hate HTML. It's a pain in my ass. So now, I'm going to show you some more tricks. And this will actually require looking at the code. And for that, I usually recommend my editor, which is called Smotron. And I'm going to pop it up here. And what I do is I just usually, I got some code in there. I'm going to go ahead into my terminal. I'm going to open up main.j. Let's go open up here. And I think for this part of the exercise, I'm going to make the text bigger. So just give me a second here, because not even I can see that. But then again, I'm not really a good judge. I'm partially blind here. So, let's see what this is here. So this is the function. When your index.html is loaded, okay, it loads, it's automatically configured to load the main.j. Now, if you guys have ever programmed in C, Objective-C, C++, any kind of thing that requires any interface into the operating system, you know that main is always the point of entry into your program. Okay? We have a function main, and that begins the CP application main. Okay? The application has been configured to know that the app controller object is the object. It sets up the windows, reads the nibs, and loads the following code. AppController.j. If you guys don't know the command line, I suggest you get at least a passing comfortability with it, because it'll make your development time shorten. The commands are more concise, and you'll be able to express a wider range of operations, and including the graphical tool. Don't let any Apple people hear me. So your app controller is basically the engine of your application. Okay? Much like and the good thing is that if you guys develop for Cappuccino, you guys will become iPhone developers for free. You guys know that? It is so similar. It is so similar in scope to programming for iOS and for Cocoa. And if you guys actually program web applications for this, you'll become Cappuccino, basically Cocoa developers for free. All you got to do is change everything that says CD to NS. How's that? You can use the same tool and roughly the same process. You still have to go to the command line, just say run, build, and it will start your application and put it on the screen. So there's a little semantic differences. I know that Apple just released modern Objective-C 2.0. So the syntax for array literals, dictionary literals, basically I know that these are just technical terms flying above your head, but I know that the syntax is much similar to what we have in Objective-J. And Objective-J is actually a superset of JavaScript, much like C is to Objective-C, right? So we have the same syntax of C, but in JavaScript. That allows us to have to not worry about memory allocation, retain release. I don't know if I'm getting too happily on you, but I know that Apple basically is really pushing APR suite part, automatic resource collection, which means that programmers no longer need to basically balance and allocating objects, and they can just instantiate objects and let the compiler take care of it well. Okay? So let me go ahead and put some buttons up on the screen, and we're going to have that little world say something like this. How's that? Right? So the first thing I'm going to do here is go back to Xcode, and let's put our organizer away. Let's have this guy just not say anything. Kind of difficult to find, but he's still there somewhere. And perhaps I'll just have him say something. I go back into my app controller, and I'm going to put NX, CP NS. I'm so used to doing that corporate development. I type NS automatically. CP text field. I'm going to put link. And I'm going to go ahead and synthesize this so that should be good enough. Any fix? And we can go ahead and do something like this. I'm control clicking to the oh, it's not working. It's not set up yet. Give me a second so I can look through my old project because I think that apple cider is getting to me. So just give me 1 second here. That's what it should be doing. The window, okay, it still hasn't picked it up yet, so I'm not quite sure why that's happening. Just converted with menu. Well, these are the experiences that make our lives worthwhile, right? Going to create the button. So we go back into our object library. And I guess we have to create a button anyway because that way we can actually change the text in the future. So let's go here. Search. Push. Let's go ahead and put our push button somewhere on here using the Apple's wonderful layout guides. And let's make sure that it's popping up inside of comes back up. I'm going to go ahead and make the window not resize automatically. And to do that, I need to go in here. This call, set full platform window, makes the window full screen when Cappuccino launches. So by commenting it out, it should actually stay roughly the size it's defined. And it's very difficult to see because the projector is constrained. Visible at launch, restorable, shadow. These things just basically take away the 335, 360 by 40. I'm going to go ahead and make this window like a solid color in the back. Now I'm going to introduce something very important here, and that's the Cappuccino documentation. Whenever you're creating a Cappuccino application, you're going to want the Cappuccino documentation. And Cappuccino has excellent documentation, not the least of which is the class list. And these are all the objects that you're going to use whenever you're creating a Cappuccino application. So one of them that I'm using is CP color. And CP color defines a few methods, not the least of which is brown color, clear color, black color. So you can actually get any colors from this object that you want and paint them on the screen.
The return,
Oh, yeah. Thanks, man. it compiled, but it's still not showing. So I'm not quite sure. Let's go and talk to CP Window. We should see in here set background color somewhere, set background color, CP color, A color. So it seems that it's not, okay, we made a mistake, and you can tell that the cider's kicking in. I'm sending it to the class and not the instance. So, okay, now I just have no idea what's wrong. So, unfortunately, this will happen a lot while you create a project. It may have been that I installed Cappuccino over my base project. I'm going to give it one more go, and if not, I'm just going to pull up a Cappuccino project that I already have built. Yeah, none of these things are working. And they should be. Maybe it's the first response. No. See, whenever you create these things right here, it should automatically be set as the owner of the window. And that's something which I think wasn't done. If it's not hooked up, it just basically won't work. Yeah, of course. So I'm going to go up here, but I think it's command something weird. So it is basically a code generator, and what it will do is create all the HTML that you need for the application. It creates a very skeletal web page, and it sets some meta tags up, some links to the default icons, some styles, and it includes the Objective-J runtime. So the Objective-J runtime lets actually the language work and causes it to function and do all its things. It uses basically the entire screen, right? So it sets up a div, and in that div, after it loads the menu and all the other resources, is where it paints the screen. So because my impromptu project is not working, I'm actually going to try and pull up a project that I've been working on for a little bit. And I'll do that while you guys are, let me see if I can. Just give me a second so I can close this window real quick. I have some interesting thoughts. One of the applications that they made was actually a Keynote-like application. It was called 280 Slides. I'm not sure, yeah, they took it down. But people are making awesome things with this framework. And it's so easy. Can you imagine this? Look at that. I would have never thought that this was done in Cappuccino. Isn't that great? Isn't that Apple-like? Right? Beautiful interfaces in black. They just work. Little spinners. That's beautiful. And I bet you it's probably just a div, right? A little div floating like that. And how do you get it to fade in and fade out? How do you get those behaviors? All those behaviors are free in Cappuccino. And if you have any questions about how it's developed, you go into the documentation, everything is there for you to see. There's some unit back below, and just the imagination is your only limit. Sit down with the designer, figure out how it's going to look, talk to a programmer that knows something about code, and start driving on your next project. Fortunately, I'm really sorry about the whole little snafu with Xcode. I'm going to try fixing that a little later on. But Cappuccino is just such a great development tool, and I don't see why more developers don't pick it up. I must admit, that's another thing. The backward doesn't work in Cappuccino. Backward doesn't work in Cappuccino. And part of it is because it's all web development. And if you're a web developer, you know that the backward breaks everything. So there you have it. I'll be, let's see here. So, does anybody have any questions about managing? Okay. I must admit, that's something that I thought about when I was creating a presentation. Do you need an app? It's learn to the program with Cappuccino. You need an Macintosh, or you're using the I know, right? Hey, Macintosh, what was that, right? The reason that you need an Macintosh is because Apple's development toolchain, the Xcode, is really what you use to program inside Cappuccino. You don't need a Mac if you're going to go ahead and not use interface code, right? But that would defeat the whole point of having a rapid prototyping system because you're spending your time looking at code, right? So for your purposes, just say the upside is that you really know better iPhone developer. So if you, for example, didn't want to start off in an iPhone developer, you'll be able to, because you have an Intel Mac, you have Xcode, just jump right in and basically write the same code that you write for the iPhone as you would for your web. That's a very important point. A lot of people these days are developing, right? For not only for the web, but for mobile devices. Having something like Cappuccino, which understands the language of code, minus a few exceptions here and there, like you saw in the sample. There's a guy that actually wrote Memory Miner. You guys know what Memory Miner is? It's an Explorer application that lets you put memories together. It's awesome. Let me say I show it to you. But it was written completely in Cappuccino. And it's a great production. The guy's making a ton of money. Digital storytelling. For Macintosh and the web. And let's see what's happening. So I guess the interface is really what you need to. It basically allows you to put your thoughts down along with pictures. You see? And all of that you see here is created using Cappuccino. The guy is like an ex-Google developer. And he decided I actually learned how to program with Cappuccino from him because he created an developer.tv series on how to get started programming with Cappuccino. I'm going to see if I can pull that up for you later. But essentially, everything you see with Cappuccino, the buttons, all the interactions, you have little labels that you can click on, you can set timing, stuff like that. And if you break that up, at least here is he says, and the reason why I brought this up, he said that he was actually able to take 80% of his code at night, dump it to a text editor, change NS to CP, and get it working. How powerful is that? You can take your Macintosh code and bring it into a browser. Or conversely, take your browser code and put it as a data application. That's incredibly powerful. And I think if you're willing to put up on some of the funky syntax and stuff like that, it's a good time to be happy to work. Go back and get up, right? Right up here? Okay. Okay, see that's why? Yeah. Well, it's become a lot with Objective-C 2.0. The syntax is getting better. The memory management is getting much easier. It's only a matter of time before, you wrap it. So questions about
this and then just go to full cat wrap it on and
True. as well. Because it is HTML5, it is standard HTML5 technologies, you can run this in a browser on your own. Right? If you want to put a native iPhone application, what you can do is actually, let me show you. The open next code, let me show you how to make an iPhone application. It's exciting, I get to show stuff. Now, this is guaranteed to work because it is completely happy. I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. And put it up here. We create a, don't want to make a utility application. Utility application is an application that has a front side and a back side. So I'm just going to use ARC, iPhone, whatever. It's going to ask me to save it. I'm going to put it on my desktop. And I'm going to call it something. So, here you have it. You have an iPhone application. If you hit run, and you put an iPhone simulator, you go ahead and hit run, it's going to go ahead and say build succeeded, and you are going to see an iPhone pop up on my main screen. And there you have it. It's an iPhone, right? You click on that, turns around, you have it done. You have just created your first iPhone application. Except it doesn't do much, right? Suppose you had a website, for example, CMS, right? You develop it in Cappuccino, and then what you go ahead and do is go into Xcode. Let's see here. Open up your mids, which I don't remember if they are in. View. Okay, so let me adjust the screen resolution because this is not working. It's really difficult. Alright, so here we have the window that appears on the iPhone, right? I'm going to go ahead and look at my objects here. I'm just going to drop a web view. Okay? Now, web view is basically a browser in the window. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag it in there. And that's it for the order. So I'm going to go ahead and set it according to the interface guidelines. And I'm going to go ahead and here button. If the button has priority over the web view, I'm going to go ahead and make it so that it actually goes somewhere. The easiest way to do that is by going back into your app controller, okay? And so I'm going to do a few things, one of which is hooking up the So I've just created a property, and that property should let me hook up into the mid file. And the way that we do that is by going to the file zoner and patching it into the view. Give me a quick second, guys. 2 other ones should just work. So I open the flip side, and this is the next side. and you want to do, and by doing this, you can hook it up to Delegate, or by doing this, you should be able to just hook it up into the web framework. For some reason, it's not working. You have to declare it as a outlet. Let me see if you can, because this is objective, modern objective C. So I don't know if you can do it. But you can. Let's see if I can get away with that. I don't know why I'm having such an issue tonight. For some odd reason, it's not showing up. But anyway, you can configure this guy, so I'm going to go to a web page. And when you rebuild the iPhone application, it will actually pull up the web page. And within that web page, what you can do is you can actually go ahead and select your web page, your application. Right? So just give me a quick second here, and I'm going to go ahead and look up something real quick. Something I'm missing. Oh, yes. Okay, I see what it is. The declaration. And I'm sorry, I haven't been using Interface Builder as much to create applications these days because I've been creating code-based application. But when you declare it down here, you have to put the qualifier out. ID. And what that'll do is it'll give you the ability to patch it into the view controller. So I'm going to go in here, and hopefully this time's going to work. Something's broken my Xcode. That's the best way that I can declare it is that something's really broken my Xcode. I'm not doing something right, something's missing. But what I did there should have worked perfectly flawlessly for So the nerve me started to zone out. Anyway, so when you build and run this application, the web view is going to start, and I don't think you can configure. You see how it displays a blank web page now? That's actually the local host web page. If I had actually managed to successfully connect an outlet, which is kind of like something that the first grader can do in Xcode, but at the time you can't say good, it will display Google as well. This is like I said, a first grader project in Xcode. It should be ideally very simple to do. For some odd reason, it's not working on my Xcode. So, with that being said, your mind is regarded. And this is why the presenter should never ever have a beer before the presentation. Because whatever can go wrong, will go wrong. Let's give it one more shot, because that's the hacker in me just never wanted to give up. So,
the content simple, it definitely would work.
So what?
Yeah, it definitely would work. You're just taking what you have.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why it's not working. When you prefix the web view by ID outlet, it lets interface builder know that that is in fact supposed to be something it can hook up into. That being said, when you go into your main view controller, the files owner should be the oh, okay. I think I'm doing something wrong. Files owner is owned by main view controller. I was doing it properly, but because it seems my nervousness got the best of me, and hopefully I will not make an ass of myself. Main view controller, so I'm going to go to the mid, and from files owner. Okay, so I think in this case I'm like the band. When I start playing more gear to keep on playing well. I'm going to continue by loading Google, okay? So when your controller gets actually instantiated, it has a few hooks. One of them is view did load. So what you can do now is basically web view. And let's see what method we can go there. We can go to, let's see. We have a bunch of methods in there. If you ever have a question about the web views, you can just press Control and click the class name. And you can go into documentation. You can look up the documentation real quick. And anybody that programs in Xcode will tell you, most of their time is spent reading documentation. Apple has 3,000 APIs and growing, and all of those objects give you really cool behaviors, except, well, you just need to withdraw language. So what we're looking for is load request. And load request, just to generate, to listen to a web page, we're going to do a load request. Right? There's an SURL request with URL, URL with string, HTTP. Yeah, I can't see shit. And we will that down, then close that, close that, close that. And when we build our application, I'm here. Let's see. Well, the good thing is that could tells you what's wrong. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's up properly. So here we should do self.webview. And this is just part of the modern Objective-C. When you have, please, it's been such a difficult presentation. So I'm really sorry, it's my first presentation, and Cappuccino sometimes misbehaves. That being said, if you ever have any issues, I'll be willing to sit down with any of you or if you have Cappuccino issues. I'm going to go ahead and change this to my CMS, and it should be a walk in the park from here on. You press run, and Xcode's going to build your application. And this is a Cappuccino application running inside of iPhone. So there you go. Right? So this is kind of like building a web page to actually work in here. Cappuccino is fully Apple device friendly. You can put it on your iPad. The touches work. Everything works. If you go ahead and you hit login, the window shakes just like they would on a regular browser because it's WebKit. It does resize to fit the screen. Oh, but my view doesn't. So that's actually a very simple fix. You guys are getting like a crash course in iPhone application development. Let's see here. Same thing that we did earlier. What you want to do is you want to set how the behavior of it adjusting to the content of the window. We're going to go ahead and rebuild the application, and when you actually flip the phone, it adjusts to the size of the screen. So if I go ahead and log in, you see you get the keyboard and all that cool stuff. And you hit login, and the view switches. And yeah, now you're seeing us. So, of course, because it is JavaScript and it is HTML, you actually do have to sense the device. You can do that using simple JavaScript. And when you sense the device, you adjust your UI accordingly, and everything changes. So that's it. Similar to phone app, this is kind of like a roll your own web view. And so any questions, please feel free. I think at this point in time, it is going to be 8:50, if you guys have any questions about the time. Let's go ahead and have a show and tell. So this is the most exciting time for me because I get to stop talking. And so if any of you guys would like to show and tell any of your projects, does anybody have anything that they would like to show? Cool. Do we have a wired connection? Wired network connection?
Yeah, but not that will reach all the way over here.
It's local files. They're on the machine, but then
do you have your router there with an Ethernet cable?
Yeah, the one that's going into the router.
Okay. We can see these kind of.
let's see to what extent that.
Okay. Well, while you're looking at that,
make sure. Yeah.
Of course, by all means, go ahead. The secondary is placed to the right.
Okay.
Just hit escape and.
Escape?
Yeah.
I just gotta get to a browser.
Yeah. You know how to hit the browser. You hit a browser, right?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, right here. It's already there.
Let me pull up the. And you see, if you just put the cursor on the right hand of the screen, you can drive to see that.
Got it. So, I run a company that is building a new search device for real estate. This will launch next month. Oops. I don't know what happened.
It's all right. Everything breaks through.
Yeah. No, but it's.
Oh, you have another month.
Yeah, exactly.
Evolution V.
EvolutionV.com/city.
Uh-oh.
Alright, so it's like fairly weird. You have Firefox?
Tell us about it.
It's hard to describe. I'll move this over so we see if it works here. You guys can talk amongst yourself as
There you go.
okay.
If that screen name, type it on that thing to the world.
Wow. How do I get this to fit there?
You're going to have to drag it all the way to the right. Take the title bar. Then you'll
Totally,
press command 9. Refresh it, let's see what happens.
it's black and shut the whole thing.
Well, we can upscale the resolution, which is really small.
So that's here.
Let me do it for you.
So I have an Apple. We have many more buttons than I do.
What do you want? 1280?
Yeah, it goes Yeah, 1280 would be fine. Click on Dribble.
Yeah, why don't you do it?
It's not doing. Hope everybody's entertained. There you go. Great thing for that. That's all. So the hot flies there. Alright, so what we have done is we built in something called Unity.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it.
So it's a gaming platform. And what we've done is created a way to search real estate in 3D.
Nice.
So I don't know if it's going to work here, but yeah, okay, it does. So you can do a search. So let's say you want, it's the south of 5th. So you want a 2-bedroom and everything nothing's cheap there. So let's say it's between 500 and 1.6. You run, it searches the MLS.
Oh, I see. Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So you know somebody with access to the MLS? Because as far as I know, they're very...
So we are a brokerage as well, but anybody can go to the realtor board and get an IDX feed.
Oh, I see.
So, and you can act as, so you can fly through.
Oh, let me be the first to tell you that's badass right there.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So you can let's say you want to, let me take a look at the yacht club. So you can double click on the yacht club. You can turn around. The green ones are the available units.
Nice.
And as you move in, you can see more information about it. So this is, 1910. And then you click on that, and it pops up and it shows you the listing.
Very nice.
So you can see, you can go through the pictures, all the beautiful pictures. And then you can close it out, get out of this thing, and fly around.
Oh man, that's wonderful.
You gotta sell that to the Realtor Association.
Well, yeah. Actually,
this can be.
Ironically, I just literally got with them, but they're not the buyer of this. This is, so, and I can show you other areas. And now that it's actually working, I can type in the other one. So I'll show you. Where do you guys live? Anybody live in Brickell?
No, I guess not.
Midtown.
Oh, we're gonna.
Right there.
Hey, you're right here. We're gonna add that. Huh. I've never seen that. That's new. So they're literally, I was looking at the dev site, and they never had a bar before. Now they do. So we're building out South Beach, Brickell, and downtown right now. Oh wow, it's completely different. Okay.
So this is the dev version?
This is the dev version.
Very nice.
So we have 4 programmers, and we are always looking for more talent. So if anybody's out there,
You're taking the 3D building information from.
we create it.
You mean.
We
And then you're trying to build the buildings more or less to what they look like visually.
well, we actually get the plans from the city. We take pictures of them. Our models are actually created in teams in Chile and in Russia.
Huh.
And all of our code is this. And we filed a patent 2 years ago on the ability to search in 3-dimensional space. So when you press 1 bedroom and something appears on that building, like that, having the results show there is, hopefully it's intellectual property of ours.
You, sir, need a Mac.
What?
You need a Mac.
I have a Mac.
Oh, there you go.
I haven't been able to, you have so many buttons. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
crazy.
I got tons of stuff to do.
We got the, most insane amount of stuff. But yeah, so this is this is brittle. We're improving the load times, but our buildings are very tight.
That's pretty cool. Have you thought about iOS 6 and what the 3D maps is going to look like?
So the problem is, as soon as we, first of all, we're building this for the iPad as well, because it's in Unity. Unity can, we program it PHP, so the top line, all this stuff on top is actually in PHP. So the login and all this stuff over here.
Standard website stuff.
That's standard website stuff. The big box in the center is all programmed in Unity, which is transferable to mobile, to Android, to iPad, that kind of stuff pretty easily. You just have to rebuild all of the login and save units and like all of that kind of whole registration stuff. We can't use the stuff from Apple or Bing or from that, because as soon as you use any of their stuff and you license it, they own you. You can't charge too much, you can't, and we just want to sell this to them. So,
of course, owning the technology is very important. Like for any of you guys wanting to make any application to sell, to basically create your own company, owning the application is paramount. Because you don't want to go ahead and build with some third-party SDK and end up finding out that nobody wants to invest in you, because all they got to do is find a programmer in China or in India to piece together the technology that you use.
Everything here, then you don't want to use the 3D data because it's better to stay in the city, so then you own it and then
these buildings are actually assets that we own. They each cost a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
And
to create the model, paint it, figure out dimensions in 3D.
It takes a lot of effort to go in and figure out.
And then that also allows you to then map very precisely when you know it's on the 11th floor, that's what's going to happen.
And you need to have a lot of precision, because, I mean, these buildings, like, look at the white lines. Like, those white lines are exactly, if you look at the building today, they can't be off. Because the person who's got this listing right here wants to know that that their white line is in the right place. Because that matters. There's a certain person who owns 3205, and we're going to try to extract a lot of money from them to make their thing big and to make it bubbly and colorful and put a video here and.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's what we're working.
I approve. It is an honor for you to use my Mac.
Thank you for letting me use your Mac.
There you go. So, many blessings. I see that you guys are using workers in Chile and all across the globe.
Those are only artists. All the coders are here in Miami. If you know anybody who is an iOS programmer, or is a Unity programmer, or is just a great programmer altogether, we are actively hiring.
Where are you guys based?
South Beach. So we're on the road. There's 3 modeling agencies in our building. That helps.
What's the name of them?
It's called Evolution. That's right. You didn't hear that. What's up? Yeah.
So most definitely, I came to the right place. Our goal here is to put designers and programmers and entrepreneurs in. It seems you already have pretty much everybody together, but if you're scouting talent,
we are so hungry for talent right now that it is absolutely.
You came to the right place. I usually program when I have a very good, but not at all. So, thank you so much.
And you were halfway between that, which was really unfortunate.
So, please, we have Apple people, HTML people, all kinds of people here. After the event, network, don't just leave. Our goal is for everybody to talk and get to know each other and create a community. So, with that being said, I would never have thought somebody would use you to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's creative thinking, that's out of the box thinking, that's more what we up here in Miami. We got talent, put it to use. You know what I'm saying? Anybody else want to show us up? Yeah. You want to go up to the projector? Or, because I think we have a video cable. You want to? So I'm going to go ahead.
Do HDMI.
If you can do HDMI, then just take my cable. It's a long cable.
So yeah, the only thing is that this is the corporate discussion. When I put the Wi-Fi on, the screen goes off. But you know what? Maybe the external will work, so I might be able to get away with having the internet connection.
Oh, there you go. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's super bizarre. Like I'll show you. This is the laptop that I Univision gave me, not my personal.
What space is in?
So
The investment, which is, are you modeling out stuff, or are you providing?
yeah, that is something really okay. So yeah, as soon as I turn it on, that's good. I still have that, but this goes off. You see that?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Makes no sense at all.
That's crazy.
So that's fine. I have the bar.
Okay, there you go.
Alright, so now can I get the TV higher than this? Like,
Go to your display and just try it this way.
That's how you adjustment.
I'll check the outcomes on the recording.
You got all we serve media traders in each
you think you could go higher on this projector?
Let's see. What's the highest you've ever set it up, do you know? What do you need? 1366 by 768 is.
That would be good. Okay.
All right.
Alright. Yeah, just to get Drew.
For the win.
Okay, that's pretty.
So what are we seeing here?
Okay, so I could give two demos. I too have been on a search for like a technology that allows you to more or less code once and then output to web and apps for multiple platforms. I'm always looking for technologies where it's like I can just focus on the programming, get it done once, and then reach the widest possible audience. So the couple things that I've come across that I've enjoyed programming in. I'm rather novice to PhoneGap. I just started with that a few months ago. I had a lot of experience in the world of Flash and Adobe Air, which basically you leverage the ActionScript programming language to be able to output to everything from the browser across every OS to direct, creating an actual app for either iOS or Android or BlackBerry Playbook. PhoneGap expands it a little bit further. You can target all of those, and on top of that, you can do apps that appear to be native apps. I don't know what's it called for Windows Phone 7, the upcoming Windows Phone 8. It'll work with Windows 8. It'll work.
Anything that displays HTML.
Yeah, and anything like that, and so you're able to get, also the important thing is that you're getting perfect parity between the web experience and the app experience. So you're just building once and it looks exactly and feels exactly the same across all of those. So we had, I worked for Univision as my regular day job. And then on the side, I explore all these technologies and do a little bit of freelance. So we had like a one-day hackathon event, and so I literally started from nothing, not knowing much of anything about PhoneGap. This was like 2 months ago. And I said, okay, let me try to dive into PhoneGap and putting it together with jQuery Mobile and coming up with something. And Adobe acquired Toby, which is the company that made PhoneGap originally. PhoneGap is completely open source. The second that they acquired it, they went ahead and open sourced the whole project and everything. So the nice thing about this is there's other things out there like Accelerator, but a lot of these other things will tie you down more or less. So yeah, in this case, it's like it's completely open source. So at the end of the day, you're still going to have control. So it's a good thing. So here I have like just I wanted to kind of give a few demos on some of the nice transitions, the things that you get free out of the box. So what's nice is this is Dreamweaver CS6, the latest from Adobe, and in it you have this nice little live view. So I have the code here, and then right here I have a completely live view, as if I was basically the web browser right in the tool.
You're still editing HTML on the left.
And I'm still editing HTML, my jQuery mobile. I got some of the JavaScript code in there as well, which you can see up here. So you can make changes here and instantly see it in the live view, and you can navigate through this. So, for example, out of the box, you get nice little transitions, like you could click there, and you get the cool little kind of Apple flip window like that. And then you can hit backspace, and so you can actually navigate within that live view there. If I can hook up the internet here, I could show you. Okay, let's give this a shot. What was it? 3051?
531.
Yeah.
4411.
4411. Here we go. Okay, 305
531
531
4411.
4411.
Okay.
Alright, there we go. Okay. So let's see, should we connect a little bit?
Just a quick announcement. I'm sorry to interrupt. The lovely student from the Ocean Ventures is now leaving. He has to go, unfortunately. But thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you. He's a little busy giving business cards now. But yeah, and hopefully we'll have you at the next event.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, all right, so we're connected to the internet now, so this should work. So what I did is that at Univision, we have an API, so as part of the theme and the requirements of the hackathon, we had to use a third-party API and also integrate with our own API. So our API allows you to pull content. We have articles, videos, slideshows, images that pertain to Hispanic media, what we do basically. So here what I did was I tapped into our API and I'm using jQuery mobile, and I'm doing JSONP is what I'm using, so I can go across domain. Yep. So I'm able to do that, and basically I just do a search. So soccer is pretty popular on our site. So if I do a search for soccer, hit enter, and there you go. So dynamically, this reaches out to our API. There's a few little CSS issues. I gotta push this text to the right, but basically you see that here it's gone, and right now live it's reached out to the Univision API, and it pulls in some thumbnails and the titles and descriptions that are related to those thumbnails. And it was a one-day hackathon. I literally had 8 hours to start from nothing to completely putting together PhoneGap, jQuery mobile together, and integrating with the Univision API. So what I was going to do with this to take it further was that you would then actually click on one of these, and then that's going to take you into the slideshow. So this is just a thumbnail for the particular slideshow. But this is a good example of just showing overall some of the power of both jQuery mobile and PhoneGap, and getting back. And all of this is done right in Dreamweaver, but you could use any tool that you prefer. For me, I'm just so comfortable with the Adobe tool set and the way that all the tools interact with each other and how I can just move the project around and stuff. So I'm good with that. I pretty much just use that. And then let me see if I can get this this panel here. So a new thing in CS6 is that PhoneGap, normally what you would do is that you install PhoneGap and you have to put in all the various SDKs. So if you're going to Android, you got to put in the Android SDK, you got to do all these local installations, and then they came up with something that is a cloud service now, which is called PhoneGap Build. So if you go to build.phonegap.com, this really simplifies things, because every time you go on like a new machine, you don't have to completely set it up, and you don't have to be on a Mac. to do iOS development and
In
all
other
of
words,
that.
it takes your source code,
takes the source code,
and builds it for all the platforms in the cloud.
Just like that. So it's beautiful. So basically, you could visit it either as the website itself. So if I go here to build.phonegap.com. Okay, so actually I'm already logged in and everything. So I could come here to the website, and like this one that I was working on was this particular one. So you get your application listing here. I can click on that one, and then you'll notice iOS, of course, is the only one that you need to provide the signing key for it in order for that to compile. But all the other ones are ready to go. So every time that you change the code, you can do a rebuild against all of them or just against a particular one. And then it'll go ahead, it'll do that in the cloud. It's pretty quick, within a few seconds you get each one. And then to make it convenient, they provide the QR code here. So yeah, you could feel free, you could hold up your phone. Yeah, and you can just hold it up there and scan it and then just download it. So if you did that like for Android, you get the APK, you run it. On the device, you of course have to have it set to accept applications that are non-market. And then that's it, you're ready to go. What?
You'd like to try a Windows Phone?
Windows Phone? Yeah, sure. I think these should be good builds, so give it a shot. Yeah, just hold it up today.
Okay. Got it?
So yeah, I mean, it really makes the whole process
nice.
Very streamlined. So, and then even better is you don't even have to go out to the browser. They basically, Adobe just put in this little panel right here, which gives you the same exact thing. So if I log into here, I get exactly what you saw there in the browser, and I get the QR codes right there. So what I found so powerful about this was that in this one tool, in this one set of web standards languages, I'm able to develop with perfect parity for mobile web and for apps targeting the widest possible number of mobile OSs out there.
How about that with, for example, if you, I think the good part about this is it gives you a uniform API across all the platforms.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Instead of having to build, for example, one mobile application like I did for iOS and drop a web view in there, you still have to know something about Objective-C. In this case, all you have to do is be a web geek, kind of, so to speak. Yeah. And they take care of all the development for you. Mm-hmm. So it's not only is it available to a wider set of platforms, it's also available to a wider set of programmers and developers.
Yeah.
Kind of like more for the web label.
Absolutely, yeah. And you still want to have some of that, the ability to, what I did appreciate from the Cappuccino presentation for sure was that nice interface that you can do so much visually. So I guess the equivalent of that might be going into like a design view here in Dreamweaver and maybe working with that. I also really appreciated that from Cappuccino because as a Flash developer, that's what we've always been used to. We've got this awesome visual environment that we can do the same thing. We can hook it like to telling it to, okay, you align to this particular edge of the screen and things like that. You can do that in Flash Pro or in Flash Builder if you're doing that other stuff, which I could demo also, the AS3 stuff. So I think that the three of these have that in common, that it's just trying to simplify everything, trying to get it down to where you can do a lot visually without having to dive into code too much. You can target a lot of platforms. You can get pretty good parity across the browsers, across the OSs, and I think that stuff is really powerful. So yeah, so that's basically the PhoneGap stuff, and then code-wise, I actually had to write the.
So it's just standard JavaScript.
Yeah, this is just standard JavaScript, and this is using. You'll see that I include here the minified version of JQM, the latest release, and then this is basic like jQuery and JavaScript there. So this is where I did the JSON key and the callbacks, and so basically built that out. And then down here I just had the structure where it was the empty containers that then dumps the that data onto.
Very nice.
So,
Unfortunately, I want to give some other presenters.
oh, yeah.
So, number one, I like your technology. It applies to a lot of developers. We can use it all across the board. I look forward to seeing some other hackathon-related events. So, this time, anybody else have any show and tell? You want to show and tell? Please. How are you? So, do you have some kind of display technology?
No, I can use a regular browser.
Oh, okay, sure. Then go ahead and hook this up.
Provided we have time.
Yeah, we have we're slated. We still have a few more minutes.
So my name's Joe Fuentes. Background in technology for about 30 years. And developed several companies, web development companies, service companies, servicing small businesses in South Florida. Most recently, I have developed a platform, much like eBay, is a matching engine for buyers and sellers, or a matching engine for investors of all sizes with proven money managers that are able to trade and make above-average returns on their investments. And what we've done is create a risk-controlled investment marketplace, allowing you to dictate precisely your risk appetite. And if you have no appetite whatsoever, this is what makes us unique. You can transfer your risk to another investor willing to speculate and receive the lion's share of the returns. Something totally not out there. It is, well, actually, it is out there, but at an institutional level, minimum account size is $10 million. We're bringing this down to an everyday person with $500 to speculate the markets or completely controlling the risk.
So here's your browser.
Okay.
I actually mirrored the display, so whatever you see there is what people are seeing there.
The site is presently, it's a live pilot. It's being tested. Next week we're going to onboard the traders. It's not open to the public because we're also pending registrations with the National Futures Association and the CFTC.
You probably don't need the password field next time, right? So not everybody goes in there.
Now, right now, we only have about 3 traders in the system, but we have about 30 that we've vetted already. What we use is a third-party verifier. We have their API where we can look at their past performance since inception, since they first opened the brokerage account. We use that background average returns in order to match you with the risk appetite of the investor. As you see here, we have a calculator. And what we want the investor to do, it's just like a toy, it's basically to generate leads. If you were to use this toy because you're curious and you want to know, as you see here, it explains to you how you can take a free test ride. We can show you what your returns are based on the traders that are in the system. Okay? Don't pay attention to the returns. Our calculator is being adjusted. Also, we only have 3 traders, so you may get more than above average returns at this point. But what we want to do is personalize your experience with these money managers. And when you select the amount of money you want to invest, let's say it's just $1,000, keep it simple, and your risk appetite, you're going to see the projected yearly returns of what your money could grow to. Okay? And you also see the experts that are matched with your risk tolerance. Okay? The goal is to get you to put in your email address. If you did nothing else, what's going to happen is you're going to receive an email. Thank you for coming to visit the investor report. Had you invested with our top traders, these are the returns you could have made with the amount of money you put in. So we keep hitting them with that email again to come back and open a real account or a demo account. We can follow our traders for 14 days, simulating what it would be like with virtual money, with the idea of them opening an account. Big money to be made in the back end. Our brokers pay us anywhere between 2 to 9% for every dollar under management. Big money to be made, and we're an introducing broker, so we receive a portion of those commissions. log in as a trader. As you can see, this trader has 3 active systems with 24 investors following them, with $300,000 following that trader system. The trader gets a commission on every dollar that's following, because we have an agreement with the investors that they pay a performance fee for the profits that are generated. So that's why the traders utilize the system. Now, it's real complex. I won't drag you through the whole thing. Basically, I wanted to show this to you because we have 4 programmers in India finishing this pilot for the next week. And we're looking for a local Java programmer that's interested in working with us and helping build our team here locally.
We'll put out a little call on the mailing list and response to it.
So is this like a social network for investment or not?
Yeah.
And then over time you can actually analyze the data and you can have kind of like rising stars, like people who have been the most successful, maybe have like top 10, top 100.
Yes, we're building a ranking system. I'm going to show you where you can find traders. These are the traders.
And it's completely just open, like anybody can come in and say like, well, I would like to be a trader.
No, we vet them. They have a trader application process, and 2 of our partners have over 20 years experience in the market. And one of them's been written up.
We can't have that guy like, well, who's that guy that on this team, isn't it?
Yeah.
Madoff? Bernie?
The beauty.
Bernie, we can have 300% returns every month.
Well, here, notice this. See where it says risk control and risk transfer? When you look at a risk control trader, you're able to control your risk 10, 20, 30%, whatever your appetite is. If your account draws down to that point, it closes all the orders. You don't put the money anywhere but in your own brokerage account. And the broker we're working with is called Institutional Liquidity, the fastest growing broker in the last 2 quarters. All money's held at Citibank, New York. Okay, it's not an offshore, none of these crazy Ponzi schemes. It's your account. You stop trading, stop following them at any time.
Well, not an illegal Ponzi scheme, illegal. Right? I have a little crazy views on our social system. But yeah, I like that. I like the idea.
Yeah, it's completely transparent. So you're able to, and what you were saying, since we use a third-party verifier, you're looking at their past performance on my
They have APIs and all this information is being piped to you immediately.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. So who would your target market be?
The target market, well, I want to briefly go here and explain to you what a risk transfer, so you can see what makes us really disruptive in the marketplace. Every investment in the stock market and currency, there's always risk involved. There's always a drawdown. It reaches your maximum stop loss, or when you stop down, you lost your money. Well, what if I told you there was a way to transfer that risk to another party? They're called guarantors. I hate to compare this to the poker industry because poker is gambling, but in the poker industry, if you're a good poker player and you have a bankroller or a backer that gives you the money to participate in the bigger table, in exchange for what? In exchange for the majority of the profit. You do the same thing. The backers back the risk, but they do it, they're not gambling, they take an educated decision.
Well, they're just an educated company.
What they're doing is they're looking at the past performance of this trader for the last 5 years and saying, this trader's never had more than a 9% drawdown, out the 20%, which is more than a cushion, in exchange for keeping the lion's share of the profit. Now, since they're only putting 20%, which is 1/5 the size of the account, well, their returns are exponential. They're multiplied. And this is being done at an institutional level. Minimum $10 million. What we're going to do is bring it down to a little bit.
Very nice.
One other note, as a side project, I have a coupon company similar to Groupon, similar to the new social, or the one you showed me now, which is highly disruptive, changes the game, similar to what Craigslist did to eBay. Anybody interested in knowing more about that? Huh?
took all the colors away?
Looking for a mobile developer to work on that project. We have the website's 90% done. The mobile app installed in India. Much rather bring it home.
Well, I'm all for bringing things like that home. You definitely came to the right place. There's more than enough mobile developers in here. I'm sure we have phone app over here. We have native iOS here. I'm sure that more of these lovely people here know how to develop applications. So feel free to network.
I want to tell you that my chairman has taken 12 companies public, including my last company. So I'm familiar with taking a company from startup to publicly traded in 2 years. Our partners in this project have been written up in Futures Magazine. Our latest lead investor is a legendary trader for Chase and Solomon Brothers. Serious people stepping up